Here I'm asked to graph the piecewise function and determine if the function is continuous. So in this problem here, I'm going to graph the two pieces. So what I will do here when I graph this is I will go ahead and use some tables to help me out. I could graph them as quadratics and linear functions, but because I'm doing a piecewise function, I know I'm just going to want the values around 2. So what that means is that my first function here I will do in red. I am going to plug in some x values that are less than or equal to 2. So let's call it, I don't know, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Then for the second function, I'm going to plug in the values around 2 and also greater. So my x and my y values here, I'm also going to plug in 2 because I need to know what's happening at 2 since that's where the trade-off is. I plug in 3, 4, and 5. And so now here I'm just actually going to plug those values in. So when I plug in -1 into this here, I go -1 squared, which is 1, plus a -1, which is 0, plus 1, which is 1. Then when I plug in 0, I also get 1, which is funky, but trust that it works. Then I plug in 1, 1 squared is 1, plus 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. 2 squared is 4, plus 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And now I'm going to actually plot those points. So -1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 3, let's call it 1, 2, 3, and 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it is a closed circle because it's less than or equal to. And my vertex is somewhere in between here. I'm not going to worry about that at the moment though, because again, I'm just sketching my graph. For the other function here, I'm going to plug in 2, which 2 times -1/2 is -1, plus 7 is 6. I'm not going to plug in 3 because I don't want to deal with 3 halves. I'll plug in 4, which gives me -2 plus 7, which is 5. And I'll not plug in 5, but I'll plug in 6 because that gives me -3 plus 7, which is 4. So then I plot these points to 6, and that's an open circle because it's greater than 2. Then I plug in 4, 5, and 6, 4. And so now what I notice is that this is not a continuous function because my puzzle pieces don't match up. When I plug in 2 to the left side and I plug in 2 to the right side, they don't equal the same thing.